All right, so we are here for the CS and PM monthly. Grant, want to go ahead and kick us off?
Cool, yeah. So we have a few product updates we wanted to share with the field, and I had a number of them, so I'll start, and I think we've got a few others as well. So first off, on we have recently added HMAC authentication to our external status checks. This has been a common request as our security policies team has taken on external status checks within our category. We decided to go ahead and add support for this. So this will help to verify responses that are being sent to the status checks and ensure that you can't, for example, spoof the check and manipulate something that might be, for compliance purposes or security purposes, blocking a merge request. And we plan to also add some more capability around verifying HTTPS for status checks in the future. The next one is scoping by group. So this is also has been a common request for security policies. We have had options to scope at a project level or to scope by projects containing a specific compliance framework label. We've added support for group. This is currently undocumented and only supported in YAML. We are wrapping up some of the front-end aspects to be able to manage this in the policy editor, and we'll be showcasing this in the release post for 17.4. Next up, this wasn't a security policy specific feature, but one that definitely affects a lot of customers using policies. So I wanted to be sure to highlight it as well. We now have the ability to set a CI/CD variable on SAST, SAST IC, and secret detection to enforce global rule sets. So this will ensure that any kind of global rule set that you've defined takes precedence over anything defined at the project level when the variable is set. So you can use that within a policy and make sure that your global rule set is enforceable. And another great improvement outside of the policy space, this was something introduced by our compliance team. You are able to now set more than one compliance framework label on a given project. This really opens the door in our compliance space to be able to add context to all of your projects. So you could have one project that is labeled with SOC 2 and also with ISO 27001 or one of the others. So you can really get more granular context and then still enforce policies based on that compliance framework label. And moving on to E, Lori Howitt put together a really nice demo using policies with compliance frameworks. So I wanted to share that with the field here. Anytime I see these demos that I think could be reusable, I wanted to pass them along and encourage you as well. If you have something you'd like to share that we might be able to pass across the field, that would be great. So feel free to share those to me. And in F, a few others that I wanted to highlight are some improvements to our pipeline execution policy. So we're making some changes around how to override jobs and projects if there are naming conflicts. So if you are using a pipeline execution policy, if we do have a clash, we'll dynamically handle that clash and ensure that the compliance jobs that are enforced always run. We are also exploring some capabilities around handling empty need statements. So if you have an empty need statement or if you have a need statement defined pointing to another stage in the project pipeline, we will ensure that with this change that we override those capabilities, ensuring that any compliance jobs that must finish first in the pipeline policy pre-stage do complete first. And so, yeah, I wanted to raise these two along. If you have customers that explicitly are looking for something like this, I'm happy to hear more feedback from those customers. So feel free to share those along. So that is all I had on my end. I'll pass it to you, Alana, to verbalize the next few.
Yeah, so Hannah, they've been working on continuously releasing new token management features every single milestone. The goal of this effort, which will continue, is that customers will be much better equipped to understand what tokens they have, when they expire, and what they can do about it before the expiration happens again. They're doing some things around gathering metrics to understand how far out customers have been extending their token expirations on .com, and this will help them better understand where there's going to be these points of mass token expiration at a scale. The ask for the CSM team is that customers understand that the setting for self-managed only applies to tokens created after the non-expiration. There's been some confusion around self-managed customers thinking that the setting will absolve all token expiration dates. However, it will not. Also want to let customers know that we are prioritizing token management every milestone, aside from helping with expiration. This will give them better visibility into token creation, use, and increased control to help with security. And if a customer is particularly engaged on tokens, we have a survey which will help them prioritize our token management features. So great things coming around token management and looking for some engagement. And then Joe, around the authorization team, is kicking off a new initiative to bring fine-grained authorization tokens. This first initiative is supporting permissions to job tokens. So if there's a customer interested in fine-grained authorization for tokens or API availability for tokens, there's a Slack channel to reach out to, and they are looking to connect. Connor, over to you.
Sure. So I've got two things to mention on the static analysis front. One, the first batch related to SAS, and the second related to code quality, which is also part of the static analysis area. So on static analysis, two sort of exciting updates on two major initiatives. So for advanced SAST, that is the new SAST engine that we're using that provides cross-file, cross-function scanning. The engine is available now in the stable CI/CD template. It does require opt-in with an environment variable that's specified in the documentation. We'll be making more of a full sort of launch motion in the next few weeks, including field name material and public messaging. Highlight this in a bit more context. We're looking for orientation. So that's expected with the 17.4 release around that time, some more public moving. But the engine is available today to use. And then on real-time SAS scanning IDE. So this is a feature that obviously is very highly requested. And we've been actively working on it for the last few months here. We are currently expecting to deliver an MVC soon, in the next few months, which would provide the first initial sort of release of this feature. It's not a committed date, but hoping to do that by October, November timeframe, in at least some of the IDEs and for some of the scanning features. But again, it's a forecast. It's a really exciting feature, so just wanted to mention that it's in progress. And then secondly, so past the SAST area to code quality. Code quality is a separate category that takes reports differently and focuses more on the quality and bugs and complexity. So we have announced the deprecation of a scanning feature that's provided by an open source tool called Code Climate. This is the one that you get if you use the code quality.gitlab-ci.yaml template, or you use auto code quality, part of auto DevOps. That scanner we're targeting to remove in 18.0, which is May 2025. So about 9 months from now. What's not changing is the MR widget for code quality, the pipeline report for code quality, or the diff annotations where code quality problems are shown in the code review view as you look at the changes in a merge request. Now, you might be wondering what happens next. We'll be clarifying some of this in documentation and in other places, but it's important to note Code Climate is almost exclusively using open source tools, so sort of wrapping them in a Docker and Docker executor. So the change will be, instead of having Code Climate run in a job, then use Docker to run other jobs that run other jobs, you'll just run ESLint or whatever tool it is directly, provide support directly as part of the CI pipeline. So it'll run faster, be simpler, keep it up to date, simpler to understand and manage. And working to clarify how you would, make that transition if you haven't already. that option to bring your own tool is already available, has been for a few years. So it's sort of a long migration time to get away from the sort of Docker code climate based scanner onto using scanners directly. But we recognize it's a sort of complicated thing, so we're going to work to communicate it better. So that's it for the code quality bit. I think that brings us to the end.
Wonderful. Thank you. See you all next month.